Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. I got a lot of stand-up dates coming up. I can't wait to see you guys. I'm doing an album recording on January 6th out in Levittown, Long Island, Governor's Comedy Club. So tons of stand-up dates leading up to that album recording. I'm going to be in Morris Plains, New Jersey with Comedians at the Compound, December 11th. I'll be headlining the Hartford Funny Bone in Connecticut, December 12th. December 13th, I'll be in Little Rock at the Looney Bin out there in Little Rock, Arkansas. December 15th and 16th, I'll be with Aaron Berg and Anthony Cumia back in Dallas, Texas at Hyenas Comedy Club. Then the album recording on December 6th. Danbury, Connecticut coming up after that. Albany, New York, Savannah, Georgia, and Tampa, Florida, all coming up in 2022. Can't wait to see you guys. Love doing stand-up any place where they don't require papers. If you have a great venue idea, just tweet at me, tweet at them. They see this stuff. And yeah, appreciate all of you who've come out to shows so far. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Cushy Dreams. If you're experiencing any kind of anxiety like I have been over the last couple of years, this has really helped me. Cushy Dreams specialize in high quality CBD in pre-rolls and these tins here. They've got different indica sativa blends like Hustle, Create, Relax, Dream, Peace, Energy. So if you want to be a little bit more up, a little bit down before bed, maybe you would go with one of the Relax or Peace blends. I personally really love the pre-rolls. They come in these great 5-packs. Just throw them in your purse, throw them in your pocket. Enjoy all the health benefits of CBD without getting high. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and smoke your CBD. Go to cushydreams.com now and at checkout use promo code CMP to get 20% off plus free shipping. Let's get into it. He's been on the podcast before, but with everything that's going on right now, I am so happy that he is back with us again today. He is a former police officer, and he's also the author of Beaten Black and Blue, actually available right now for pre-order on Amazon. Brandon Tatum. Let's go, Brandon. How sick of you are hearing that?
Awesome. Yeah, it's funny to hear that. When it first came out, "Let's Go Brandon," I was like, it was such a wag term. And then my name is Brandon. So, I kind of got sucked into it.
I know it's going to be a while, I think, before people stop saying it.
Yeah.
People are very excited to have a safe catchphrase to say that's PG-13. So Brandon, I know you've been covering the Rittenhouse trial. You just left your own live stream to come here, so really appreciate you squeezing us in. What is your take on this? A lot of folks say, he didn't belong there. There's so many factors I think that the average person is concerned with. Oh, the weapon he had was very scary looking. He shouldn't have been, he shouldn't have been walking around with an AR. A lot of folks bringing, I think, race into this. Oh, what if Kyle were black? Do you feel like that is a productive conversation to have? I know I've asked you a lot of questions, but how are you feeling about everything right now?
Well, there's two sides to this, right? There's people who live in reality and there's people who live in a fantasy world. In reality, what a gun looks like, it means nothing. I mean, hold on a second. It looked like they're going to the court.
Oh, really?
Ahmaud Arbery trial. I mean, for the Kyle Rittenhouse trial.
Let me see if I can bring it up.
So, if you don't mind, I'm going to try to push it to my audience, and then we can stay on here.
Yeah. What's a good stream for me to bring this up? Which one were you watching?
It's the one at the top. I forget what it is. Hold on 1 second. Okay, you can still see me. So I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, if you want to share something.
Would it be best if we redo this or come back to this? Is this a pre-recorded? This live?
This is live.
Would it be best if we come back to this, or I can just join you in a second?
Frank, what should we do?
Because this may be pretty big to read this verdict.
I guess it's.
Yeah. So
Yeah, pop off. I'll keep going. I'll stream it. Yeah, you pop off. Do what you
I'll
have to
pop
do.
back
I'll
in.
stream this and then pop back in whenever.
Yeah, you can go to my stream, and then you can, if you want to pull it up, pull up my stream, and then I'll be on
Okay.
there on my stream.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, perfect.
All right, see you in a little. All right, let me get this up here. Let's see which stream is the best to do here. Wow, this is crazy, guys. Like everyone was thinking that this was going to be out already. And it looks like they're going to it now. It's just tough to know. Frank, which stream should we be bringing up? Let's try. God, there's all right, let me look. Maybe some.
I'm gonna Facebook it to you.
Okay, yeah, Facebook it to me. Wow, I can't believe this is like coming out right now. Yeah, he was doing a whole stream and I was like, "Oh, I bet he'll cancel because this is hot right now." But yeah, I was thinking, "Oh, we could merge ours together," but I don't know how to do that. It's all good, guys. I'm going to bring this up here. This turtley looking judge. Here we go.
Urging me to say no, but I did it anyway. So, did you want to make a record on it?
I'm afraid it's going to be the old dictionary game, and they start defining words and things like that. The outside research.
Yeah,
that's my concern.
Well, actually, no, because they could do that at home without having the paperwork, and instead they have the wonderful,
okay, Quantum.
concise
Sorry.
jury instructions.
That
I have to say, I don't know about you guys, but I watch a little TV in the morning and in the evening, and some of the greatest legal minds in the country, I'm delighted to say, agree with us that the instructions are very confusing.
Wow.
But
the only thing I would say is I don't think it would be appropriate for them to bring their notes home.
No, you're right about that. No notes to go home. That's correct. So no notes to go home, but they may take their instructions. If they have notes on their instructions, I'm going to let them take those. Okay?
How's Kyle looking?
Anything else?
Kyle looks the same.
Okay. See you in the morning. Thank you.
Oh, this doesn't look like a verdict. This looks like see you in the morning. Unless this is something else. Unless this is the wrong thing. Oh, this is live. All right. Well, there's a shot of the extension cord. Sorry for the tease, guys. I guess it's not happening. I think this judge. A lot of folks have been commenting on how this judge seems influenced by the media. They tell everybody in the jury, stay away from all forms of media. Don't look at your phone. Don't watch TV. Don't look at the trial coverage. Yet it seems like every day the judge would say something alluding to the fact that he had seen the coverage or he was responding to something said in the media. What are they zooming in on that? Who is that? Reagan? Who is that? They zooming in on him? Was that him when he was younger? Who's this oil painting of? I think that's just what they're doing so they don't, zoom in on somebody's crotch. All right, we're going to take that down. Let's see if he'll come back. I've never been left before on a live stream. I don't know how to feel. It's okay, guys. It's okay. Let me get to some of these super chats. Okay. From a Clue P2. Thanks for the $5 super chat. Chrissy, you got to get B. Tatum to appear on Friday Night Tights. Contact Gary and make it happen. You know what? Now that I am an official member of Friday Night Tights, I don't know if you guys heard the news. Oh, is it back? Oh. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's watch this again.
Problems with the media when this trial started. We were there in part, not fully, but in part, because of grossly irresponsible handling of what comes out of this trial.
Yeah, welcome to our world. He's unhappy with the unfair media coverage.
That is our world. We live it.
It's
right.
incredible. But does he have a right to say that?
Of course he does. And what he's saying is absolutely true. I learned a
Hannity looks
valuable lesson. I'll give you the
gigantic.
short version.
Why
I'm
does he
on
look
the air.
gigantic compared to this
The
woman
Atlanta
here?
Journal-Constitution comes out with a headline: Richard Jewell, the guy that actually was a hero at the Olympic Park bombing in
All right.
1996.
Hannity's gonna go on and on and on here. Ooh, guys, special treat. You might recognize him from a few minutes ago. No, Brandon, what a tease.
Yeah, sorry. I thought that they were gonna come back with the verdict.
Oh yeah, that's what it looked like.
They should have came back to the verdict a long time ago. I mean, Kyle is not guilty. So I guess people are afraid. We got jury intimidation, all of the above. So I think that's gonna, hopefully in the morning they should come out with something. Hopefully.
Are you getting the sense that people are ready to riot no matter what happens? It feels like mob mentality is all like, I don't know, everyone's sort of keyed up and ready. It's like, I feel like people are pissed for many different reasons, and they're like, fuck it, we'll get it out via just raging as soon as the verdict comes out.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's some people, they're first of all, like I said before the break, there is two types of people, right? You have the people who live in reality, and you have the people who live in fantasy world. And in reality, there should be no protests, because the reason this happened in the first place was for Jacob Blake, who was he sexually assaulted his baby mama and pulled a knife on a police officer and fought with him. That's why he got shot. So the reason we even here in the first place is because this fake outrage that people are doing. They're not living in reality. So after they read the verdict, it is what it is. You either trust the court system or you do not. When it's in the favor of certain people, they like, oh yeah, that's right, he's guilty. When George Floyd's case with the police officer, when he was found guilty, yeah, justice is served. And then when it don't go your way, justice not served. So you either trust the court system or you do not trust the court system to a certain degree. There's appeal process. There's all kind of things that can happen. But Kyle is innocent. I mean, this is the clearest case of self-defense I've ever seen.
Do you feel like this case has become as big as it is because it's about something else? A lot of folks have been saying, oh, this is about taking away Second Amendment rights. This is about, persecuting anybody who stands up for themselves. This is about, making people scared of self-defense and just leaving it all up, I guess, to big daddy government or the cops or just anyone but themselves.
Yeah, I think it's multifaceted. I think you have the people on I could say normally on the right that are like, the reason they're prosecuting him is because he's white, and they want to make an excuse to say people should not be able to carry these rifles because look what happens. And then people on the left are saying the reason that the reason he should go to jail is because he's a white supremacist, and we can't just let white supremacists roam the streets with scary guns illegally and do damage to innocent people. So you got these people living in all of these different bubbles. And that's what's creating the animosity. It's not even really just the fact that Kyle killed people, because there's multiple people that have died in these BLM riots, arsons. They've been killing people all year. I mean, so this particular case is hitting the head because the mainstream media, the leftist media, associates Kyle Rittenhouse with Patriot Americans and Donald Trump. And so they have a vested interest in him being wrong. This kid cannot be right.
He hasn't even been old enough to vote yet. Yet he's like, oh, he must be a Trumper. It's like he owns camouflage shorts. He's holding a gun.
It's crazy. It's just, what world are we living in when it's like the kid has done nothing to prove that he's anything other than a young guy who had a rifle attempting to defend property and got attacked, and he defended himself. That's as simple as it get. I mean, why would they treat a 17-year-old like this? They will go out of their mind to talk about demonization of black and brown teens. This kid is 17, man. He was facing a life and death situation because people are nutty, and they do him like they do. It's beyond me.
Do you think that his parents, or it looks like has got a single mom? Do you fault at all the mom for letting him go out there and protect property or businesses?
And in hindsight, it's like you shouldn't have let him go out there because now look what he's in. But at the time, it's honorable for our young people to be, because think about it. In a few months, he probably would turn 18 and he can go serve in the military. So it's honorable to protect your country. It's honorable to protect property. People deserve protection. When police cannot do it, the citizens have to step up and say, this is our responsibility as well. We can't just leave it up to the police department that's only 2 officers for every 1,000 people, and that's a loaded police department. Some police departments are 1 officer per every 1,000, half an officer per every 1,000 people. You can't expect them to do everything. So the people in the community have to stand up and say, we have rights to protect property from vandals, arsonists, and all of the above. And I think it's honorable that a young man not only served in that community with volunteer work, cleaning up graffiti, he worked in the community. He has ties to the community. It's honorable that he would want to protect his community. And reasonable people don't fight you if you got a rifle in your hand. None of the other people got into a situation with people because they had rifles. They singled him out and they felt like they can knock him off because he was by himself. And I think they found out the hard way.
The reason why I think so many of these properties end up getting destroyed during these riots is like, exactly, it's this anonymous feeling. You're in a crowd that no one can point you out. It's like this mob mentality. Everyone's jacked up. Oh, let's go. There's footage out there of them pushing a dumpster on fire, like towards a gas station. So I think somebody standing there with a scary looking weapon is enough of a deterrent. Like, okay, let's pick an easier target. We're not going to mess with this guy.
Yeah. But the term scary weapon is weird to me. Like, I mean, it's just rifles are not scary to me. I like, that's my go-to. I keep mine next to my bed. That's my go-to home defense. And if you come in my house, you're gonna get 5.56 rounds. You're not finna get shotgun. You're not gonna get 9 mil. You're finna get 5.56, and I got 30 rounds in the mag, and I got a bunch of other stuff. But that's my go-to. It's easy to handle, it's accurate, and it's powerful. And that's what I want if I get intruders. Therefore, if there's 2 when I thought it was 1, I got enough for everybody. So it's not scary to me. It's subjective. Some people are scared of these rifles because they don't own one. And I'm not saying you said that. I'm saying this is the rhetoric that's coming out.
Yeah,
they don't
people who aren't
own them.
comfortable with them. Oh God, we shouldn't have them. And it's like, yeah, it's because you're not comfortable around them. You don't own one. You're not going to the range. You're just not.
Yeah. They're out of touch reality. I mean, you get killed. Either one, it depends on the circumstances. Rifles can be more effective. Handguns can be more effective in certain situations to kill you. I mean, think about this. If you're worrying about ammunition, if you had 2 15-round mags and handguns and you had 1 rifle with 30 mags, you got the same amount of rounds. If you're trying to maneuver in a small space and you got a long gun, it's harder to maneuver and point in a small space. If you're a rookie and you don't understand holdover, you're going to be missing people with a rifle at close range. People, I mean, like I said, there's some people that are out of touch. They have no idea about guns. They have no idea about weapons. They never even carried one before. They don't even know what it is. They don't even know the capabilities of some of these weapons. It's just because it's bigger, it's scarier. I mean, it's asinine to me.
Do you think Kyle showed restraint when he was kind of getting attacked or when those guys were coming at him?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that when he was chased by Rosenbaum, he literally pointed the gun at him first, like, hey, bro, back up. Like, he didn't stop, So I think that was the first sign of like, hey, trying to get him off of me. And then once he got to the parking lot, he had no chance. He had no choice. And then him running, to me, he was trying to avoid a conflict. But I thought he did. I mean, to be honest, it was quite impressive for him to be able to engage on his back. And engage the targets that he was supposed to engage. I mean, the guy coming right up over him, boom. There's a guy that had a gun out. He didn't shoot him. A guy with a skateboard, he didn't shoot him. And he only shot when the guy pointed a gun at him. He was able to shoot his bicep off at close range, hitting the targets that you're supposed to be hitting without collateral damage on your back in fear for your life as a 17-year-old kid. I mean, I was impressed. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, see, I wonder, could I be like,
Right.
I was on the SWAT team. I wonder, could I be there?
Do you think he was consciously trying to hit him away from, like, what is this called? The dead zone? I don't even know. Like, do you think the fact that he shot him in the bicep shows that he made an effort to not kill him?
Nah, I thought that was pure luck. I mean,
yeah, that was luck.
Most of the time you hit center mass because this is the area in which it can be more accurate and it's the more vital area. So if you need to take a person down, this is where you hit organs that will take them down. I think it was just sheer luck of the draw that he hit the guy bicep instead of hitting him in the shoulder and the ribs. I would be shocked if Kyle Rittenhouse, I mean, I would give him a month worth of income for me and like put him up in a hotel for a week. If he was able on his back, fearing for his life in a tense situation after already killing one guy, shooting another guy fatally, to aim at a bicep with an AR. And because people don't understand, when you that close, you can't use an optic. The optic has a holdover. Like you can use the optic, but where the bullets are going to hit and where the optic's going to hit is a difference, because the optic is sitting up on the gun like this. So if you aim and you looking through the optic and you aim for the shoulder, you're going to hit much lower. And so even with holdover, if he was able to hit a person right in the bicep, that dude deserved a Nobel Peace Prize.
Do you think he would have been killed if he hadn't had a weapon on him that night?
Yeah, I think he could have been. I mean, I don't really know. Well, it depends, right? Rosenbaum was going to fight him. He was going to physically assault him. And if he get knocked out, I don't think they would have had any mercy on him. So looking at what happened in Dallas and some of these other people getting beat to a pulp and end up dying later in the hospital, I don't think that there's any other reasonable conclusion that could have been drawn other than this mob is going to beat you unconscious. And after you're unconscious and you have a gun in your hand, all bets are off. I mean, they've showed no restraint. They're willing to burn buildings to the ground. They don't care nothing about your life, you know. So I think he would have been killed.
Do you think Kyle handled himself well, like after I guess when everything was said and done and he kind of like went to go, I think he went to go find the cops or find police. Did he like dart out of there after it was all said and done? Like, did he end up disappearing from the scene, or did he?
No, I think they told him to go home.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to address a potential mass casualty situation. I don't know what they were thinking. I didn't hear the police officer's testimony, but I don't know if they were just like, dude, we'll deal with you in a minute. Maybe they saw it. Maybe they saw him defend himself and they thought, stay over here. You did what was right. Let us get this done. You get out of the way. We'll follow up with you. But he did go to the police. I mean, so clearly he wasn't trying to escape. He wasn't malicious. He went to the police like, hey, trying to let them know what's going on. And they waved him off. How is that his fault? You know? And so he, like any other rational person, to get out of that place, he went back home and then he turned himself in. So, you know, I thought he acted appropriately. I'm very shocked that a 17-year-old kid would be that poised, would be that respectful, would be that mindful, intuitive, and of course, I bet his parents coerced him to a certain degree to turn himself in, or at least they convinced him to or encouraged him to. So I don't think it's all on his own, but I do think he handled himself very well.
So if he's found guilty, what happens next? What are you the most nervous about, or what are you more concerned about? Like maybe the loss of, are our Second Amendment rights going to come next?
Nah, that's not my first thought. My first thought is that we're going to set the precedent that if the mob wants you to go to prison, you're going to prison, no matter if you defend yourself. Like the Second Amendment got a long way to go, you know, in my opinion. I think they chip away at it. We do need to be concerned. We need to be ahead of it, but they got a long way to go to think they're going to somehow take rifles away from people. I mean, they couldn't, even if they wanted to, they couldn't do it. I mean, the most compliance they can do is telling you to put a mask on and fear-monger you into people actually dying, and then saying or whatever that these people die from COVID. So they have actual numbers and they have statistical data that can fool you into believing that the COVID is just going to kill you if you walk outside. And they've been able to coerce a lot of people that way. Not everybody. Now, guns is no way. They have no facts. They have no statistics. They have no data. People don't experience gun violence in their everyday life. You know, so most people have guns and never killed anybody. So they will have an impossible time even convincing the public it makes sense to give up your rights to the rifle. And then also, if they do make it a law, how are they going to confiscate all these guns from people? I mean,
messy.
I mean, that's the hill I'm gonna die on. So I mean, I don't know how many other people are willing to die on that hill. So I think that we kind of far removed from that. The closest thing is that you have the Ahmaud Arbery case, which is next. If they set the precedent to get rid of a guy who was really defending himself because of the mob rule and afraid of backlash, Ahmaud Arbery's case is done deal. They will be found guilty. Every police officer that's ever been involved in anything will be found guilty. All they have to do is burn a couple places and mob outside of the courthouse and threaten jurors, and they will get the justice that they want. And so that's the thing I'm most afraid of.
Right. Like what sense what's the point of people avoiding the media and sequestering themselves if they can be bullied? If a MSNBC van is going to trail the jury bus to what? Can you imagine? I mean, like, how would that have gone down? The MSNBC bus, what they would have pointed a camera at the people getting out of the van. So now we have IDs on these people. Isn't that illegal? Like what?
Yeah, I
What
think
is
that
happening there?
I think the judge may have determined that it was negligent at minimum, but what was their intentions? Court TV has exclusive access to certain stuff, so it would make sense that they may have exclusive access in documenting these things, maybe like as a documentary. So when it's over, they have some clips of
Okay.
jurors and maybe blur their face out or whatever. So there may be some documentation there of getting good footage of this is them approaching the last day that they deliberate, but the mainstream media, they have no reason to do that. This is not a documentary. This is not they're not impartial. So
Yeah, it's hot right now. It's like they just want any piece of that would get so many eyeballs.
and the many times that the news media have leaks and other things like that, I mean, it wouldn't be surprising they go, "Oh, I'm sorry, we had footage, but it leaked." No,
Oh yeah.
and then if the jurors see them, just the fact that the jurors see the media, they like, "Oh my God, these people are following us. They're gonna put us on camera. Like, we can't even escape it here." They said we were secured, and the media is following us. We are screwed if we give an innocent verdict. We are screwed. They already know what we look like. They already been recording us. How long have they been following us? We're not safe, and that could be somewhat of a jury intimidation.
Yeah. Got a good question here from Matthew Heyman. What are Brandon's thoughts on constitutional carry passage in several states as a former police officer? Some police in Tennessee were complaining about it. Do police not expect everyone to be armed?
I'm not really sure the question. I think let me answer this and you can clarify if I'm off on it a little bit. But I think that all citizens should have reciprocity in all 50 states. It's a constitutional right. That's a right that supersedes laws. So people should be able to open carry or have the Constitution carry across state line. I mean, and no matter what state you're in the union. I think if he's referring to, or she or Matthew is referring to, can police carry across, all state lines? I think if you are a approved law enforcement officer, you should be able to carry in every single state in the union, which I do think in most states is acceptable, but I'm not sure in all states. So is there something else to that question that I'm missing?
No, he might send in another message to clarify. That's usually what happens. It's like, and another thing. Yeah, Matthew, don't feel like you have to send another super chat. I feel like you covered it though.
Yeah, somebody said, do police expect, I think he said, do police expect everybody to be armed?
Oh, you mean like at these sort of like at a riot or no, I mean like most people aren't.
Yeah, but police, I think if it's a police question, it's like, you expect the worst in anything. You can't, just because you live in DC don't mean people don't have guns in DC, even though the gun laws are restricted and people ain't supposed to have guns, so in the police officer's defense, if you're trained properly, it doesn't matter what your state says, people can illegally possess guns, and you have to be aware of that. No matter what state you're in, no matter what the laws are in, you have to be expecting that a person can pull a gun out on you anytime, anywhere, no matter where you're at, unless you are responsible of checking a door at a place and patting people down and make sure they don't have any weapons. Then you can feel secured in like a courthouse or something like that. But you're talking about out in the street or in police interaction. Police, if they're trained properly, they expect everybody to kill them. That's pretty much how I was trained.
I agree with John here. He said, I think we would see crime drop if people had the law on their side to open carry and self-defend. I mean, I think it would make people think twice. But there's a lot of people at these like protests and riots that come almost like on a suicide mission. Who runs into somebody holding a gun? I don't understand. But
I think because they think people are cowards, because most people they don't have the guts to actually shoot somebody. They'll carry it. They see a little 7-year-old guy. They like, he's a punk. He's not going to shoot anybody. He's just carrying that thing around. They were wrong. So I think that people get emboldened because people don't normally have conflict like this. And I think that if more people had guns, we may see more conflict at a shortened period of time, which means that the first time they have riots somewhere where people are emboldened to carry guns, the first time some protesters get shot, it'll be the last time they do that. So I think that most people are responsible, though. I think most people are relatively responsible. I don't think most people are intelligent, but I think they're responsible. A lot of gun owners that I know don't carry their guns. They own it for home defense, but they don't carry their guns because they're not proficient outside of the house. So I would argue that a lot, I wouldn't say most. I think a lot of people are very responsible. That's why we don't see people getting killed all day long, given the fact that there's like 100 million guns in this country.
The media would love to make it seem like, every day there's so many people getting killed. From S. Becker, what are your thoughts about the two Kenosha detectives who have been sitting with the prosecutors and shading their testimony against Kyle? What are their ethics?
I haven't seen their testimony, so I can't really speak on that.
Yeah, I know that one of them had like a video that was better quality than the other side had. I'm not sure if that's what they're talking about, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But, you talk about the prosecution versus the defense and that grainy video, and they could have sent them a more clarified video, which I think that should have caused a mistrial. In that sense, I think that's another thing that the prosecution used strategically to skew visibility so the jurors couldn't have a clear, articulable understanding of what they saw. And therefore it's open for misinterpretation. So I think that was a strive. I kind of think the person was probably asking, there were some police officers that seemed to be against Kyle in their responses. I'm not sure. I mean, police officers are very different. Some people think all cops think the same. Every cop is a Republican or something, like a lot of cops, some cops don't like each other. And there's some cops that don't like other cops on the department, and they in their little isolated groups, so not every cop get along, just like family. And not every cop is a rational person, a rational conservative, in my opinion. Some of them are leftists. Like some of them would love to see Kyle Rittenhouse go down because politically they want to see him go down. I'm not saying that this is these officers because I didn't see it, but I think that it wouldn't surprise me that there are some officers that maybe be in opposition or maybe aligning themselves more on the left.
Yeah. For blob jobs for oh boy. Just remember, you're only allowed to use your gun in self-defense if an attacker has a gun of equal or greater size, as we learned this past week.
Oh, I guess that's a parody. I guess that person is making a joke. For people who may think that's honest, I think it's a joke. But yeah, I mean, no, deadly force is not even just if you fear that you're going to die. Deadly force can be used, or self-defense deadly force can be used if you feel that you can suffer serious bodily injury. So, I mean, if some person is over the top of you, punching you, and you feel like you're going to go unconscious, you may not die. That person may not have a weapon, but you may feel you can suffer serious bodily injury by the blows that person is laying on you, and you can actually pull a gun, a knife, or something to defend yourself with deadly force. You can even poke their eye out, and that could push their eye into their brain, and that could cause them to die. You can stab them with a pin in the eye, whatever. You can do anything that can be considered deadly force against a person if you feel that they're getting ready to kill you or render you seriously injured.
I was talking to some police officers, I guess this was more like last summer after George Floyd died, and the feeling is that they were going to be very hands off and like, hey, we're not that we're going to do the least we can do, but there was, I think, a fear of that they couldn't really do their jobs and just kind of hands off. Do you feel like that has changed since last summer, that maybe there's more of a sense that police officers like, okay, well, we shouldn't be afraid to like do our jobs or try to contain people? Or do you think that's still in the air?
Yeah, I think it's still in the air. I think it has lessened because it's kind of like when something big happened, it's on first thing on their mind. Sometimes it kind of die down, and then, you kind of go on and you're not as afraid, but I still think it's in the air. Some police departments, it has never been in the air because some police departments and municipalities are always pro-cop. And they would never do anything like this to their police officers and, so on and so forth. And a lot of those agencies are now recruiting some of these, these cops that are dissenting from these departments. But I think that rightfully so, cops are afraid in some of these major cities because you see an officer use deadly force according to the law and still get arrested. And especially if you're white, I mean, you got a target on your head, man. You can't even look at a black person wrong without being, people deciding that you're at least a white supremacist at minimum. So I can see how cops are like, well, I'm not going to be proactive, because proactive sometimes may be disproportionate to certain groups of people, right? If you got a group of people who are committing most of the crimes in the city, if you are proactive, you're probably going to deal with those people more often, which are disproportionate. And so you're like, you know what? I'm just not going to waste my time going over here to the South Side and dealing with black people over here, because Lord forbid, if I see a man do a hand to hand and I have to chase him down, I'm going to go to prison. So I'm not going to mess with anybody. I'm going to just chill until they call. And, you know, so I think that cops would do that. If I was on the police department, I think I would be inclined to be like, you know what? Why are we doing up and beyond what we are called to do? We're really essentially are responding to calls for service. That's what our primary goal is, responding to the citizens for calls for service. And outside of that, we don't have to be proactive. We don't have to go and look for people unless we are a part of a special unit. We are just patrolling and we're responding for calls to service. And if they want to treat us like this, then we won't go and check on the suspicious guy walking down the street right there, that based on his behavior and the totality of circumstances, he could be lurking to rob somebody or steal something or selling drugs. No, let y'all do it. Once he sell drugs to your kids and they die, we'll come pick their body up. Once he rob you, we'll come investigate after the fact.
Like a garbage man. Like you're just like, yeah, we'll clean it up. No,
we'll wait till after y'all. Y'all want to do that? Let them kill each other and then we'll come and clean up the mess. Because if we be proactive and we're just trying to help you and we end up killing somebody justifiably, y'all want to burn us down and defund us. So y'all do it, we'll respond after the fact. And that's why you see the crime rate going out of control. Proactive policing is invaluable to the community, but they don't want them to, so they can deal with the fallout.
Yeah, crime is up. I had Maj Toure on last night and we're talking about this. Crime is up. People are buying more handguns. There's less people are for gun control now than in decades. And I'm sure you've heard this a lot from maybe more libertarians or liberty-minded folks. Well, you know, a lot of anti-cop sentiment, like, well, you know, the police they're just foot soldiers for the state. They're not with us. How do you respond to those kind of comments? And obviously, it's a sweeping generalization.
Well, you know, I know a little bit about Maj, and you know, I'm not gonna say too much about that specifically, but you know, I don't understand the libertarian perspective. And me and Maj talked about this before. I don't understand the libertarian perspective on law enforcement. You know, some people want there to be no laws. You know, the police all drugs are legal. It's like, yeah, if you could consume, first of all, if you can grow your drug in your own house and consume your drugs and it don't affect anybody else, then yeah, all drugs should be legal. But what people who have never been in law enforcement don't understand is that there comes a lot of stuff when it comes to drugs. When they bring drugs from overseas, there is an entire organization, a criminal organization that's a part of that. And there's gangs, there's killings, there's robberies, there's a lot of things associated with the distribution of these drugs.
God, like human trafficking, yeah.
Legal or illegal, they still are gonna, you know, what's happening is the effect that these drugs have, the addiction that they have on people, and the money that's being made. I mean, we can see this in anything. If you got a lot of money flowing through something, it's gonna be a lot of crime, it's gonna be a lot of violence. And so the violence come with the drugs. And also, if you smoke crack and you have children, you're not capable of taking care of your own kids, or you're hurting them, or you're putting them in unsafe situations, that's not okay. If you high on crack and you need to go get the crack, but you don't have the money, so you go burglarize other people, that's where you have to be reasonable and say, there are some things that should be illegal and there are some things that should be legal. We should arrest people and put them away for a long time if they do X, and we should not if they do Y. And there is overreach from government, but not everything is overreach, right? I want the police officer to arrest somebody who's on the internet looking at child pornography. I want you to. You have the resources, you need to, and I hope you arrest that person. You know, so, but should they be out here telling you should put a mask on or not when that's not a law? Then it's like, okay, I don't think that cops should be going that far to do that, but I do think there's application of law enforcement that makes sense to a people who have decided to work in tandem with a democracy, a constitutional republic, or whichever one you want to call it, with you know, we have a shared space. So there needs to be some level of enforcement.
Yeah. I didn't mean to like directly quote that from Maj. I think
I know him.
And I
so
know a lot of libertarians will
Yeah.
say things like that. So I didn't mean to like make it sound like that was all just coming from him. But
No, me and him have had this conversation before at dinner, and we've disagreed on it. So I know exactly kind of where he's staying on it, and then so I know where other libertarians, not all, because I've heard some that are a little less, no laws, so it's a flexibility. Even conservatives are a little different. Libertarians are a little different. So
what would it take? I mean, I don't know if this is a concern of police. They're probably just like, well, we're going to do our job. But like, what would it take to sort of get the people who do feel that way to kind of, reinstall their faith in cops? Or do you think this is something that will just sort of wear away with time?
Some people are just irrational. So they'll never see any good in law enforcement or ever see any good in laws or any kind of government at all. So, I mean, they'd be irrational. And there's no example of a lack of structure and somewhat of a governing body and law enforcement in any functioning society, So it sounds good. It's cute to say we have no laws. We just do whatever we want to do. And we're only responsible for our own selves. Then you have people who are children, who's protect the children, who's protect the handicapped or the elderly. And then you say, okay, my neighbor is supposed to protect his neighbor. But what if my neighbor is a pedophile and want to take advantage of the kids instead of protecting them? People are very flawed. Right. So what we do is we try to get laws that we can all be accountable to, that we vote on as a people and be accountable to. And then we hire good men and women with integrity to enforce those laws impartially. That structure makes a lot more sense than people who I believe are just irrational. And they want a utopia. Like leftists, they want a utopia. And it's like, that's not going to happen. So let's work within the functional system and make it the best it can possibly be. So some people can be changed if they think about it in that perspective that I just gave. Some people will never change.
That makes a lot of sense. From Mazit Wazad, all of the individuals shot by Kyle had previous charges of violent crimes that showed all three had issues with impulse control and poor choices. Stupid is as stupid does. Shout out to B. Tate.
What's up? Yeah, no, I 1,000%. And I think that those things being somewhat articulated in court is damning to the prosecution, because these people have the propensity for violence. They have been convicted of violence. And so when they display what can be interpreted as violence, it's on par with their character. And so, I mean, I don't even know why anybody would defend those guys. It's out of control.
Yeah, yet they'll say in the court, "Oh, well, it's not about." I think it might have been a reporter or like a panelist. Like, well, they didn't deserve to die in that way because of their past, like because they were pedophiles. It's like, it's impossible for human beings to set that apart. It's like, you're just not going to feel as bad, especially when it comes to somebody who's fucking with kids.
Right. And deserving to die is nothing that we ever control. That's the only person that can decide that, in my opinion, is God. The deserving to die is never according to us. Now, if your actions necessitate a use of force that results in your death, then that's on you. If you have a past, you should have learned from your past. If you perpetuate a past of destruction and unlawfulness, it's going to bite you in the rear. So once you get bit, you had it. You pretty much had it coming. Do you deserve it? I don't know. That's up to God. But you had what was coming to you according to your behaviors and the laws that are in place, and people have a right to defend themselves.
Right. It's like, and so many decisions had to be made when you're getting to the point where you are hitting some guy with a skateboard, pushing some guy's gun away.
A kid, a minor.
Yeah. And he looks so young. He has just like a baby face. I don't know. I'm sure he knows by now. From Soul Fiend, he could have probably shot the entire crowd and hit 30 out of 30 and hit a criminal with every shot. Yeah, true. Yeah, not a lot of unsavory characters at these riots. It's like they're there to do harm.
Right. I mean, these are not everybody. But if you had to roll the dice and make an educated guess on what type of people would want to be here at this time of night, involved in arson and theft and looting and killing and All of these things, you say there's a type of person that do these things, and you can go through any one of these Antifa. There's a type of person that wants to be a part of Antifa. I mean, just to be a part of it, there's a type of person there. There's a type of person that wants to be a part of BLM. So, you can use deductive reasoning to say, if a person is going to be out at 10 o'clock at night and they're too dumb to understand that they're protesting a black man who put a knife on police and was justifiably shot, and they're willing to go that far as to burn buildings down that don't belong to them in a city where they could possibly live at, that person is not making good decisions in their entire life. And this is just a subsection of the decision making that and then what happened? The 3 people that got killed were prime examples. A felonious criminal record. Like, what are the odds? The 3 people that he shoot, and like you said, like the person said, he could have shot 30 people in the crowd. This is what criminals do. They have no jobs. They have no worth. They have no integrity. They're out here trying to burn people's business down because they have no business. They don't work anywhere. You know what I'm saying? They don't have any feeling of connection to the community.
Right. No responsibility. Not like, oh, let me stay home. Oh, I don't want to put myself in danger. I have kids. I have a girlfriend. I have a wife. Like, I have a hot date tomorrow. Let me not get shot at a rally, No,
I'm a pedophile and I have nothing to live for. That's what Rosenbaum was thinking. And the other guys are convicted felons, so they can't get a great job. And one guy's a convicted felon, and his permit was expired, and he's carrying a gun and end up getting his biceps shot off. Decisions have consequences,
Putting the bi in bicep for sure.
Right. Obliterated his biceps.
I heard a little bit on your stream that you were talking about someone that I forget exactly who, but someone who really beat the crap out of their girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, NFL player. And you were like, he's definitely going to jail. And you mentioned something about that becoming a police officer has had an effect on how you see crimes. Does that mean you have a greater understanding for how someone can emotionally get to that point where they're making that decision? Well, kind of. It's more like I know that there's 2 sides to this, and we don't know much until we actually get more information. Like, that's what I've learned. I saw the video. Man, he beat her bad. I mean, he threw her into a TV. He picked her up like he was in WWE and slammed on a baby thing with his baby there. So
what was his name?
Stacey. No. Stacey. I forget his name. I gotta look it up. I'm pretty sure a producer probably could look it up, but yeah, this guy is, he beat the mess out of her, and it sounded like they were arguing over some relational stuff. And I don't know who was right or wrong.
Exactly.
I know he was wrong. I mean, I could tell. There's no justification for you to be in somebody else's house and to beat them like that. And there's no justification because they have a right to defend themselves. So there's nothing you can articulate that they did to provoke you in their house to do this. As far as I know, 99% sure that there was no legal provocation for him to do that. And but people are really emotional, and being a cop allows me to remove my emotions from either side. I see her getting beat down, and I don't really feel that much of an emotion because I don't have a vested interest in either one of these people.
Oh my God. All right.
Oh, he punched her before that. And then he threw
if you guys are sensitive to this.
Oh, he's gonna do more. He's gonna pick her up and body slam her through that little play thing. I actually have one.
This is from the Ring camera. What's picking this up?
She may have cameras in her house. It looked like maybe there's a few camera angles that they have because she may have multiple cameras in her house.
And there's a baby right there.
But then this is when he slammed her through the top of this thing. See, they switched the angle so you can see him punch her. He's finna punch her right there.
Oof.
And then he throws it into the thing. Boom.
Oh God, that's gonna be a new TV right there.
Oh yeah, he was gonna leave, but he came back and he picked her up by the neck and slammed her on the baby thing, and then he left. But what I'm saying is that people get emotional. They see the woman getting beat, and they say, "This guy is a monster," and he might be. But there could be more to the story that I think people could say, okay, let me look at the totality of circumstances before I make a complete judgment. The initial judgment is that you're going to jail and you can't beat people like that no matter how mad you get. However, people may not understand that lady may be incredibly toxic. You know what I'm saying? She may be, yeah.
Women
may
do
be
have the power to I definitely know there's like a certain type. I mean, men and women can be toxic and it manifests in different
uh,
ways,
uh,
but
uh, uh,
there
I
is a certain kind of woman that would,
yeah,
and men too, that
yeah.
can drive you, like
You see the
actually
show?
make you insane.
There's a show called Snapped, you know, where men are abusing women and doing all kind of stuff and push them to the point in which they snap. So, and then they kill them. And the same thing happens with men and women. You know, there's bad, you know, crazy dudes. And I don't never think it's reasonable to kill somebody because they make you mad. So let's make it clear there's no reason to do that. But I can see how people can get mad enough to want to do that because, you know, I'm not going to talk about my own personal life, but I know a guy, you know, who's,
I always say I
you
have
know,
a friend. Yeah.
I got a friend and my friend's baby mama is very, very toxic, you know, and
I know about
I
that.
tell you
Yeah.
what, trying to, you know, my friend, his baby mama send messages to his wife and try to get his wife to break up with him, claiming that he cheated with, and one, my friend's baby mama say, you know, 1 minute you can't see your kid because he's dangerous around you, and send you a picture of a man and another man, and send a picture of another man with your kid under a Christmas tree just to make you mad.
Oh boy.
Send you videos of another man throwing a football to your kid. You know, that's what my friend, you know, he told me about that. And then also telling you that you'll never be as great as a man as the new boyfriend. And all this so crazy stuff that my friend was telling me that his baby mama does. So, but you know, I can see why some people are like, oh, you didn't done enough. I'm finna come. The only reason you do this because you think I won't do nothing to you. However, a rational person knows that this is a crime. You may be upset, but this is a crime to do this to the person. What you should do is legal, you know, go the legal route or pray for that person. Keep yourself away from it. So that dude could have been a nut and did that to her because he's crazy and violent and he probably have CTE. Or he could have been provoked and he went way too far. Because some people can be toxic, especially when you got kids. I know I see people that get put on child support. I mean, the woman like intentionally set them up and then they got to pay $40,000 a month, and the woman is with some new dude and don't even take care of the kids. That emotion, or the woman cheat, take the kids and put the man on child support. Then he's homeless. You can see how men can really lose themselves in that, but it's never an excuse to use violence outside of you defending yourself. But anyway, I could talk for everybody. But
Where men are you're naturally stronger, women like our sort of equal and opposite strengths are, I think, in our manipulation tactics. Because if a woman feels powerless in a situation, especially if it's like they are a baby mama or something like that, they go, oh, I feel powerless in my situation. Who knows? Maybe they want the baby daddy back or whatever. They're feeling like, well, I can't have them back, but I can manipulate this kid, or I can manipulate them through this kid to get what I want. And just to know when your blood is boiling, like, okay, this is a cope from feeling like they don't have control and they're just trying to, what do they want? What is behind this? Like, okay, try to separate yourself, because it's like a lot of times they do want to get you angry. They do want to get you slipping up so that it looks good on their case, because the system already favors the mother more.
100, I know.
All you can do is record, save, and
yeah. So so the story is that I wish people would look at that and say, okay, let's evaluate both people based on what we know, and let's evaluate it based on the law without your emotions, and that's what it is. I saw it wasn't this situation, but I remember going to a call, and this is one of the things that woke me up as a police officer. I went to a call, this girl called, my boyfriend beat me, he beat me, oh my God, and I'm listening to the call while I'm en route to the call. I'm like, this dude is a monster. I see her. She has knots like a cartoon character on her head. Her nose is bleeding. Her lip is busted. And I'm like, people don't understand police. I'm like, this dude is pretty brazen to beat her like this. So when I deal with him, I might have to fight this guy. And also, he's a monster. We find him, he's beat up, right?
Oh, man.
And so we go,
she beat herself up.
So what happened was he was asleep, and she went through his phone, and she perceived, I don't know if she actually saw evidence of it or she thought he was cheating.
Can't do that.
So while he's asleep, she starts pummeling him while he's asleep, and he is thinking he's getting attacked by somebody. So in the dark, he's swinging blindly, and just tagging her, you know, so she's actually losing. Once he come to, he's like, what are you doing? You know, however, we didn't know that initially. And the only reason we knew that is because she finally admitted to it. Like, yeah, he shouldn't have been cheating on me. So I started hitting him, and we like, you just admitted to committing the crime. You started this. He's defended himself. He got every reason to think that he's getting robbed by somebody and just swinging blindly in the dark, tagging you. And so we ended up taking her to jail, although she was the one that called. And when we first saw her, she was the one that was beat up. So I remember thinking, like, I was mad at that dude. I was like, well, I'll get him. I'm gonna arrest his mother. He better not fight. And then I realized, like, oh man, I had not, like, this is a total different situation. I better start really thinking about these before I go into these with a made up mind based on the first thing you see or your emotional feeling. You say, let me listen to both sides, and then, because I've seen this stuff turn, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I've seen it not be anything that I thought it was.
It's emotions play such a huge role in, like, I feel like every time there's gun violence, it's like, man, like, it's like, how do people learn impulse control? How do people learn conflict resolution, especially if they haven't grown up with it in their house or they've been hot tempered their whole life? It's like,
it's very difficult. You know, that's why having a strong father in your life, a male, because this is the thing, like, women are emotional, men are more brute force. You know, my mom would say things to me emotionally, but she wasn't gonna overpower me, you know. But my dad, you know, there were certain things I would never do because I didn't want my dad to dominate me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he would beat me. He would probably kill me. He told me he would kill me one day. And I was like, I would never try my dad. I would never try my father.
What? Just because?
No, if I ever took it to that level, you know, ever try to buck up to him, like I'm gonna fight him, or, you know, try to, you know, challenge my dad, he'll kill me. That's what he said. And he's like, well, you can call the police. They ain't gonna get here in a time. You can be dead. And so, you know, but
Happy Father's Day. Yeah.
I believed him. So, you know, when my dad tell me to do something, boy, I told you to do that. I told you. I was like, you know, I'm listening to my father. I respect him and I fear him. And if young men had that level of respect and fear, a lot of my temper tantrums were controlled by my father. Because I'm not going to blow up and slam something in front of my daddy, because then he going, you know what I'm saying? He ain't finna have that. So I really wish that young men would have that leadership so that they can control their emotions better, because they see an example of it, right? You know, my dad never got acted out of character. You know, if he had to take it there, he took it there. But my dad was even keel. But having that male example, I think, helped young men see, okay, I can still be a powerful guy. I'm not a punk, but I can still be smart about the way I control my anger.
Yeah, being able to control your emotions doesn't mean you're a toxic man. It's not toxic masculinity. It's like, no, you are slowing your role so you don't do something you regret.
That's ultimate.
It doesn't mean you're not feeling your feelings. And I think that is, like, what has been confused.
Ultimate masculinity is controlling your emotions. That's the ultimate man, who can feel something real, and some traumatic could happen, and you can control your emotions. That's when you become a real man. A real man isn't some emotional guy who can't control himself and slapping women and fighting and people, you know, like, it just, that's not a real man. And so, but you're a product of your environment, man. You grew up in violence. People would never understand how people can be violent. It's like, because you grew up in it. Like, you know, I saw a lot of violence when I was young. And so violence is not shocking to me. You know what I'm saying? So the response that I grew up with, to a certain degree, outside of my dad's influence, is that if somebody disrespects you, it's going to lead to violence. You can't let nobody punk you. You got to go to violence. If somebody make you mad, the only way you can get, you know, I would say restitution for it, is that if you become violent. If somebody won't listen to you, or they feel like they can play you, it ain't no talking. You got to be violent, and then you'll get the respect you deserve. But that's not real life. You know, real life is saying, this person disrespected me by saying this. I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm going to go on and be productive. As long as I'm not in a situation where I have to defend myself, I'm the bigger person. So.
Yeah. Kids growing up, like, you really, everyone needs, it doesn't have to be like mom or dad. It could be you, but you need that male and female influence in your life. Yeah. And if you don't, something else will fill that void. And that's why you see a lot of folks when they grow up, like, oh, you have you don't treat, if you don't treat women well, it's like, all right, or you have some deep issues with your own mom or fear of abandonment. Like I had to work through my own dad stuff, but it's like you just have to become aware of it so that doesn't trigger you and your issues don't make your decisions for you.
Yep, 100%.
I want to get into talking about your book, but I want to get these couple of super chats. Terrorism is defined. Did we already do this one? Terrorism is defined as the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in the pursuit of political aims. That's what these protesters were involved in, acts of terrorism.
100%. I still to this day, I don't know why these people aren't designated as domestic terrorists. That is the definition of terrorism, and that is the absolute mission. They verbalize it, they act it out. How are they not? Well, I know why they're not, but they should be.
Yep, they get bailed out, and they go around thinking, oh, there are no real consequences. We can act up, we can light stuff on fire, and everything is geared in our favor. From Leon Yoder, he committed a serious crime with that assault rifle in those 3 minutes. She may have provoked him, but that is not justification for an assault like that. Oh, talking about Zac Stacey.
Yeah, I think the first. Yeah. But this is the whole problem. And I don't know if you know this person, but this is the problem with people. No. I hope that person is not. Let me not go down that path because I feel like sometimes I get on people and I shouldn't. But nobody's have said on this show or me saying that she deserved anything.
Yeah,
you can see why a person would get that mad. You can provoke a person to be that mad at you that they want to do that, but it's not lawful. It's not right to do that. So. I think the last part is it's not justified to assault like that. I think people like this is the problem that I had. I was telling my wife, I want to make a video about this, but some people, and I'm not saying this person is the person, some people are so irrational in their cognitive thinking that no matter how many times you say he was wrong, he deserved to go to jail, he shouldn't do that, people will still say, but she didn't deserve it. It's like, nobody says she deserved it, but you can provoke somebody to want to hurt you. For instance, just say that I'm a woman and I got a baby daddy and I say, you ain't never going to see your kid no more. You ain't never going to see her no more. And she moved to another state. You know how hurtful that is in a man. It breaks you to the point of, where you feel broken on the inside, and it can hurt you, damage you, taking away your children from you. And so a person maliciously doing that can provoke you to want to be violent with them. However, you can't be. And that's what he messed up at. He may wanted to. She may have provoked him, or maybe she didn't. Maybe he's just crazy. Maybe he woke up on a day and said, I'm going to beat a woman today, and beat her up. But there could have been a provocation. And to me, it'll make it look like she's less of a, it's a poor lady, and she was taking the dude through the ringer.
There are unhealthy people who know that getting themselves beat up will result highly in their favor and help them to get the things they want, as twisted as that is, and then there's of course accidents and,
he's going to jail and he won't have custody of that kid ever, never. And I don't know what their situation is, and I don't know if that's her goal, but people have to consider that could have been, maybe she did want him to provoke him to beat her up so she can have full custody, because if he have a baby, they're not together, he paying child support. For a fact he paying child support with all that NFL money he paying. If he goes to jail, if she get him to go to jail, now she can move on and be with another football player or whoever she want to be with, and she got the kid, and she don't ever have to worry about him being
that
involved.
Could be a movie, and it's like, well, yeah, he has all this money. He could maybe take himself to therapy so that he could be a good dad in this kid's life. And who knows if that would ultimately be better for this kid, or this guy's toxic and
he deserved to go to jail. Yeah. Maybe he should be in there. Maybe he should never see the kid again. Hopefully he never, the guy could be crazy. Either way it go, he shouldn't have done that, and he's not going to see that kid again, because you can't be that violent, because he could have killed her. He could have slammed her into something and killed her in front of his newborn or little baby. Yeah. So regardless of what happened, he messed up, and he's going to have to pay the price for that. And it's no justification to go that far. It's a justification to be angry with somebody, but to go that far is no justification.
Also, that TV is going to be upset with him. This made me laugh so hard. Caliber neutral. My grandmother caught my psycho aunt sitting in the car in the driveway of my grandma's house, hitting herself in the eye with a doorknob.
That is crazy.
Oh boy.
People do some crazy stuff, and I think people don't realize how crazy individuals can be in toxic relationships. Like I've seen stories, I've heard of things, I've seen people manipulate ways and making people lose their kids and text messages and stuff. I mean, where people like they want you to lose it. But I wish that young man would have had somebody that could say, bro, don't go over there because you too hot.
And sometimes, I mean, I've been in that relationship where literally you are with the person that brings the absolute worst out of you and you them, and it's almost like magical.
It's like I'm not even this angry ever.
Right. I'm not this person.
The person that you're in a relationship with is like, you got such an attitude problem. It's like only with you. Like everybody else is not. You know how to push a button and make me turn red. And that's why you got to avoid these toxic relationships.
Words are never justification for physical violence. True.
It depends. Right? It depends on what words they say to you, right? I mean, if they threaten you with words, then maybe you need to defend yourself, right? If somebody threatens you, say, "I'll kill you. I'll pull a gun on you and kill you right now."
Kyle with one of those guys was like, I think saying I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, somebody tell you they're going to kill you. That's a word that can even in the law, that's justification for you to feel like your life is in danger. Somebody's threatening to harm you. But I get what the person is trying to say is that, somebody making statements against you that hurt your feelings or make you upset is not justification according to the law to go and hurt them. I get that. That's true.
From water jabbers, you have to recognize the emotional response and still make a rational decision, even in tense situations that require quick decisions.
That's what policing does. People may think cops would it. No, cops have the most restraint out of anybody I probably say anybody in the world. You know what I mean? People we deal with every day. You know what I mean? People we deal, and then we don't deal with them when they get their quinceañera or they get married or they just graduate from high school. No, we're dealing with people at their absolute worst. And people do absolutely horrible things to us. People spit on you. They swing on you. My friend, one of my friends in the police department, we were both rookies. This dude just got married. He was arresting this guy, and I think he was going to change his socks because we put him in the car. We got to check the socks. The guy hawked a loogie and spit in his eyes and in his mouth. The spit got in his eyes and his mouth. And the guy had hepatitis C or something and AIDS. He was like, "Oh yeah, I got AIDS. And so my friend had to, because they give you this when you're a cop and somebody do that to you, they give you this medicine that's supposed to rapid kill the virus in you before it spread. And then you got to get checked every month for like the next 6 months. You got to get checked to make sure you don't have hepatitis C or I don't know which one is worse, B or C or AIDS. We were rookies, man. We just started. He just got married to a wife, and now he got to tell his wife, "I don't know if I got AIDS now."
I might have AIDS in my mouth.
Yeah, I may have AIDS in my mouth, and we can't, and I maybe have Hep C or something, and we can't even be intimate until I figure out next 6 months whether I got it or not. So people do that to you.
Yeah.
People do a lot to you, man. They fight you, they spit on you, they lie on you. I remember a woman said I raped her. It's like
what's the worst or craziest thing that ever happened to you?
Oh, you mean it's a lot? It's levels to it.
It's a lot.
Accusations, or you talk about stuff that I've seen, or fights that I've been in.
Seen and accusations.
Yeah, the crazy accusation. The lady said I raped her. And then she was a nasty looking lady. I'm like, lady, I wouldn't rape you with somebody else's genitals. So, but she came in the thing, said I raped her and whatever, and it was she made a big deal out of it, and they take everything seriously, and it's like, lady, you just don't want to go to jail. And that's probably not even the worst thing. That's one of the things that I thought was egregious, but the stuff I've seen has been crazy. I've seen stuff that people would never even dream of seeing. A person was on the freeway racing another guy drunk. He fell off the motorcycle. He got ran over by 3 cars. One ran right over the top of his head. And you just imagine what that looked like on the freeway. I've seen people decapitated. I've seen a guy hit a pole at 80 miles per hour. And him in his front seat was in the trunk. So I've seen a lot of stuff. You see a lot of nasty stuff too. You see people die. You see dead bodies. People don't know that cops see this stuff. Like the average person will never see a guy who has been dead for a week in a car.
Oof.
That tried to do a home invasion. It was kind of fun. It was kind of funny, but it was weird. But when you die, your body bloat, right? So this guy was probably skinny, but when we found him, he had attempted to do a home invasion, and the guys he was going to home invade caught onto it and they shot him. They actually shot both of the people. The guy was driving and the guy in the passenger seat. The driver lived. The passenger got shot up and he died. But the driver didn't want to get caught up, so he took the car to a loading dock and he left it there in the middle of the summer in Arizona. So it's like 120, 30 degrees in the car. So this guy, when you die, your body bloat and you can become 300 pounds. So he was like originally 160. He was 300 pounds.
Oh.
And he still had the gloves on from the robbery. And like the Nutty Professor, his hands, when he blew up, his hands busted out of the gloves. So literally the gloves were this little on his hands and his fingers was coming out. And he was like the Nutty Professor. He literally had expanded out of his clothes and everything.
The glove doesn't fit.
Yes. Yeah, right.
Maybe you've been dead in the car. Yeah.
So I didn't want to be too gruesome, but I think people need to know that, like,
You've seen
and you know what?
shit.
We had to put him in the body bag. Police don't get to stand back and say, oh, no, we have to help OME put this dude like this in a body bag.
Oh, boy.
The nastiest one I seen was a guy was green.
Whoa.
He was green. He was green. He had
St. Patrick's Day or just
yeah, I don't know what he was drinking too much or what, but he was green and he ain't gonna say it. It's nasty. But cops see some crazy stuff.
Was he alive or dead?
No, he was dead. He had
Okay.
had a heart attack. He died. He fell over the couch. His face was in the couch. And when you die, your body become real weird. And so his face was actually stuck to the couch. And so when we put him off, his face came off on the couch.
Ah, that's crazy. Oh man, like man, he really loved this couch. The last thing he saw.
He was green. And then he had a blood and urine was covering the floor, so we had to step over it. And so it was wild. He had a big old blister on his back, like a basketball. It was like a half basketball. Wow. You just imagine if you popped it, what would it do?
Yeah, then you would definitely have AIDS in your mouth.
Yeah, just imagine that hitting you. And the smell was atrocious, but just imagine that getting on your face.
I would be so bad at all of those things.
Yeah,
I remember. I'm gonna wait in the hallway.
I had one time where I had a brain matter on my face and on my uniform, and blood was soaked in my shoes. It was a guy, drug deal gone bad. He got popped, and we tried to save him, and his brain got on my face and everything. Just the way it was complicated. The way I had to throw him onto the gurney. Okay. I had to throw him on the gurney, and when I threw him, his head went forward, and some of his brain came out on my face. So anyway, I hope that people,
I'm really excited for your book. Do you talk about this? Do you talk about this, Brandon, in your new book?
Nah, I don't get crazy in the book. The book is it's a small book. It's 144 pages, a generalization of kind of how I became a police officer, how I grew up, and then I interview 5 police officers on what it's like to be a police officer in today's world. I debunk, defunding the police, police brutality. I talked over the George Floyd case and kind of broke that down. I broke up a whole bunch of other cases and kind of described why they were justified versus not justified. So I talk about a lot of stuff like that. It's 144 pages, so it's a small book, kind of a quick glimpse, give you an opportunity to just be able to breeze right through it. In maybe a day or so.
I like that. Under 200, very doable.
It's doable. When you pick it up and you see it, you're like, I can definitely read this. Versus if I had a 500-page book or 400-page book with all this stuff in it, people probably won't read it.
You don't want to bring that to the beach. Yeah. No. You're just like,
You want a quick read. You want to know my thoughts in a very succinct manner. You want to know what other police officers who are currently police officers thinking in this environment. And we give solutions at the end of the book. All of us give a solution on what is the solution to the problem in law enforcement in America. And how can we build our country better? And so it's a short read. You'll get a lot of power out of it. I'm gonna write many other books. I should actually write a book about the police experiences because people just don't believe that we see this stuff. And
people
it's like,
would love that. I think that would be really popular because we just have no clue. We see cops. It's like, oh, I guess they're just standing around looking at their phones. It's like you don't see them.
No. It ain't even close to that. Cops don't even do it justice. People watch Cops. Cops don't do it justice. Cops is like the PG version of a rated R movie, or like the edited version of a rap song. Like Cops, they don't show you what the cops actually do. They give you a little bit of this, but we do all kinds of stuff. Saving people off of bridges. I saved the girl off a bridge. I think I put that one in my book.
Jump and you were like, don't do it. I'll go out with you.
I wasn't gonna go out with her, but I could have, but I made my mind up that she either gonna go on this side with me or she gonna fall on that side. But I did save her though. You know, she was a young girl. She was 16 years old. She didn't call. People saw her. Because normally when you call, you won't help. When you don't call, you finna do it. And she was sitting, her butt was on the edge, her legs was hanging off, and she was getting ready to, I think she was getting ready to push herself on off the thing. And I just so happened to be the only officer in the area, and I was right there. It was right by our substation on a bridge over train tracks. That was like,
you saw her, like nobody called you to it.
No, they called on the radio.
Okay.
No, so
wow.
the people driving by saw her on the bridge. They said this lady's finna jump off the bridge. I just so happened to be right down the street. And so when the call came out on the radio, they said the lady is attempting to jump off the bridge at Miracle Mile, right over the train tracks. And that's like a 50, 60-foot drop. She would have been dead. And I would have had to go down there and put her in a bag. But she was hanging over the edge, butt off the edge, legs off the edge. And I remember walking up to her and being like, this is it, man. This, like, you talk about LeBron James hitting the shot at the last minute. Like, this is real. This is it. If I don't save her, she's going to jump to her death. This is somebody's daughter. She's 16. She's a little kid. She looked like a little kid. Yeah. And I said, okay, I can't fall off. I got a family. You know what I'm saying? So I said to myself, I didn't speak because I didn't want to spook her. I didn't want to know I was there. So I was creeping up behind her, and I said, I'm just going to go for it. Like, when I get close enough, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to arm bar her right over the edge. I'm just going to boom and pull her, and I'm going to fall, and we both going to fall on this side of the bridge. And that's what I did. I got close enough to her, and I was like,
you just went for it. You didn't say anything.
I went for it. I didn't say nothing. I didn't talk. I didn't say nothing. I just went for it. I said, either I'm going to watch this girl fall and die, and I'm going to have to tell her parents I'm sorry for your loss, or I'm going to freaking save her, and I'm going to feel good about that. You know, and I did. And I pulled
when was
her.
that?
When you said, when was it?
Yeah.
I have not. I don't even remember. I don't know if it was in 2017, 16.
Wow.
I can't remember.
What did she say? What was her reaction?
It was weird because she was a little numb, you know, and I picked her up, I hugged her, and I said, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. But she was like, she was weird, you know, she wasn't in her right mind because she wasn't emotional. She wasn't overly emotional, and she wasn't crying or nothing. She was just numb. Like, and it was weird. So in those cases, we have the ability to take people to the mental health facility, which is free to them. So when I got in the car, she was like just zoned out, and I drove her to the medical health facility, and they were able to take her in, and they did a medical evaluation, and they'll hold them because she was suicidal. So they may petition her and communicate with her parents and stuff like that. So that was one of many me saving people, but that was like one of the biggest ones because she was a kid, man. Like, that would have been hard if God didn't have me right there. She was right there.
Or if you went for it and like,
or if one for that, I missed her.
Yeah.
Imagine, I couldn't live with that. I couldn't live with it. I don't know if I could live with the fact if I feel her slipping out of my arms and she died, and I was like, well, maybe I should have said something. Maybe I should have grabbed her harder, or maybe I should have risked my life more. Imagine living with watching her mangled on the ground down there, and you can't just walk away. You got to go down there and make sure she's not, you know, maybe do CPR or something on her. And you may have to face the parents one day and say, you know, normally the cop that's involved may not do the notification, but you know how heartbreaking that'd be is if you like, I saw your daughter like hit the ground from this bridge, and you know, I don't know. It's so much there. Like, I remember a DUI guy dying, you know, it's a kid's DUI, and they killed this security guard guy. It was like 6 a.m. And I remember I check his post because I watched him die right there. And I remember feeling so bad for his family because it was like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., something like that. And I remember thinking like, his family do not know that he's gone forever. They have no idea. They think it's a normal day. He's just going to work. He's gone forever over a drunk driver that's a college kid that's belligerent. It was horrible. And I remember I kept his license in my locker. It was an accident. I kind of took it with me because I put it away when I ran it, and I accidentally had it with me. So I remember it being in my locker, and I was going to give it to the family, but I had it in there for a couple of days, and I was just, every time I looked at it, I felt mortified, man. It's like, how could somebody do something like this to another person? And so, you know, that's the things that I'm saying happen every day for police officers. Every day. It's one of those things that you're going to encounter every day. Either saving somebody's life, or a DUI accident that may be fatal, or domestic violence like the guy that beat the mess out of that girl. You got to go and arrest that guy. You know what I'm saying? You see how violent he is. You know, hopefully you're a big cop like me. And I'm a big dude, so these dudes, I win. But if you're a girl cop and you the size of that girl he just threw through a TV.
Do you see that clip? I think it was out of the UK. These two women cops, lady cops, tried to arrest the small dude. Like he was a lanky, like beanpole dude, and he just like wrestled. He just like basically like just took his jacket and he like was able to worm out of his jacket. And he was like, "Pew!" And I was like, "Yeah, like women don't need to do every job, in my opinion."
Yeah, I think they do a good job at it because they have a psychological advantage to some people that men don't have. Like alpha men want to fight alpha men. So when a man show up to a call, bring it on. They want to fight you. You know, a woman, I guess they see their mom or something and they just feel like, oh, I'm not gonna hit a woman. You know, so some people do hit women. You know what I'm saying? So they'll beat that cop up and kill her. You know, but most people they think they act different around female officers. Like they'll back. I mean, some gangsters will back down and be like, yeah, all right. I'll sit down. You know, they kind of feel, maybe they feel like the presence of a woman, and they feel like, all right, I don't feel as intimidated by the other alpha male in the room, you know.
Is there a lady cop uniform where there's like a lot of cleavage and then maybe you can get that kind of advantage, like maybe a high heel tracked
in uniform?
Maybe.
There's some very good looking female cops. I mean, you could tell they got a body. You can tell they're good looking. Their face is beautiful. I mean, you know, when you see a bunch of raggedy looking men out there and you see a beautiful woman, you don't expect her to be a cop. I think a lot of people, I think that has an advantage. You know, you see a fine cop, they want to holler at her. They don't want to fight her. You know, she's too pretty to fight.
Look
you know,
over there, you're under arrest. Damn it.
Yeah.
You're like, looking at my ass. Yeah.
Arrest me. They want to get it. I've seen guys do this. I've seen them go and go into jail trying to spit game. What you doing later? You know, it's like, she don't want to be with you, bro. You going to jail. So, but there are some advantages and then there's disadvantages of female officers because they can't fight. You know, they can't hang with a real fight with the big dudes. And they kind of become pointless. I mean, useless at some points, unless some of them are bold. Now I'll tell you this, the boldest female cop that I know is the smallest one I know. I'm not gonna lie. She gotta be 100. She was like 120 pounds with a gun belt on. And she was probably as white as the screen over here. I just remember she was just pale and unassuming. But my God, we went to a call together and she was a fireball. I was shocked. I mean, she jumped on the dude faster than me. And I was like, all right, I see you.
I'll be here if you need me.
I'll throw it down if you need, but you look like you got it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to interfere. You got it. So
wow, that's neat. Yeah, you definitely have to do another book about all these experiences, man. Like, I think people would be so interested in that, and you obviously have a lot. Have you ever witnessed, like, during your time as a cop, like, any other like corrupted cops or?
Oh yeah, it was very rare, but yeah.
That?
We had a guy rape. I don't know if it was rape or not, but regardless, this fool had sex with a prostitute. She said it was rape. So, I mean, I think that's fair to assume that he raped her. But this fool, a decorated military veteran. I mean, this dude had a family, very handsome dude. He breezed through training. He was a model police officer. I mean, if you can draw up a police officer and put him on paper and the way he talked, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, this dude was modeled. This fool, I don't even know. Everybody was shocked when he did it, but he arrested a prostitute. And she was nasty looking too. It wasn't like she was fine. And he was like, his compulsions just got the best of it. He was a nasty, dirty, she probably was missing teeth and everything. So he arrested her, took her under a bridge. It was an old movie theater that was shut down. And so it was vacant and no lights. So if you go underneath the parking garage, it's black. He took her under there. He proceeded to, have sexual intercourse with her with protection. And at some point, I guess while they were doing it, she took off running. And he comes out on the radio and he go, I got one running. So when you say you got one running on the radio, man, everybody's antennas up and everybody's flying. I mean, everybody trying to chase, so they're going to get there and they're going to catch this person. All of a sudden he comes up on the radio and say, I got one detained. I'm en route to jail. And so that was the weirdest thing ever on the radio. Nobody ever does that. So it's like, that's weird. He had running. Now he's on the route to jail. He didn't even say he got one detained. And so he already was suspicious on that. He gets to the jail, dumbest criminal ever. There's a restroom in the booking area only for police officers. We have to go to the booker and we have to get the key and we go in there. It's the only restroom in the booking area, only for police officers on camera. He goes in there and I guess he still had the condom with him. He takes the condom and put it in the trash can. He don't flush it. He put it in the trash can. And so the lady is saying, he raped me, he raped me, he raped me. And what people don't understand is that every accusation against a police officer has to be investigated through internal affairs. Every one of them. Now, they're not sustainable or whatever, but they have to be investigated. They do an investigation. They pull the computer, which is GPS tracked. They pull the video, and they found out he did all this stuff. And it was horrible. And so we had to fire that fool. That was the worst that I've been a part of. There was another cop before me that was a detective, and he tried to rob a strip club. He was a detective and off duty, but he tried to rob the strip club guy, and he got killed. So the strip club guy comes out, the owner, with a bag of money, and the guy tried to rob him, but the strip club guy put a gun and shot him. So when the guys got, I wasn't there, but they were telling me this. When the detectives got there to investigate the crime, they pulled the mask off, and it was one of their detectives.
Oh my God, it's like a movie.
It was horrible. I mean, I bet for them, there was a friend like, what is he doing here? So we had some cops in a freaking happy ending scenario. 5 cops. I knew 2 of them that had wives. So they would get happy ending at the
had a rough week. Yeah. They gotta relax.
So it happens, but 99% of the officers are doing exceptional work. But for whatever reason, you got people out here just cutting up. It's just shameless.
Oof. I mean, I guess I can understand if you're missing teeth. That's good for certain things.
I don't know. That's jagged. That sounds jagged to me. I don't know.
Did you hear, really quick before we wrap, did you hear Joe Biden? I wanted to get your thoughts on this because people have been talking about, like, he said,
the Negro thing.
Referring to Satchel Paige as the great Negro of all time. Is this?
I've adopted the attitude of the great Negro at the time. Pitcher in the Negro leagues went on to become a great pitcher in the pros, into the Major League Baseball after Jackie Robinson. His name was Satchel Paige.
Okay, so
I've adopted.
Is this just like a dementia thing? Is this something that you think is offensive?
Well, let me just say this. It to me, it's not offensive. I could care less what Joe Biden say. And somebody using the word Negro is not shocking to me, and it's not racist, depending on how it is. However, the fact that if Donald Trump said this, that the world would be over if he referred to a black man as a Negro, the world would be over. Like if they would still be burning stuff. They'll still be burning stuff right now. They would be burning stuff in front of my house because Trump said that. So I like to play on their hypocrisy and say, how is this man going to say this? And y'all just let him go? Isn't this racist according to y'all's logic? But I remember my fiance at the time, the lady that I have a child, my oldest son with, I remember I met her grandfather for the first time, and he was the nicest dude I've ever met, but he used the word Negro, and I thought it was funny. But I'm like, if anybody heard this man say this, and he white, they'll be like, but at the time when he was growing up, black people were called Negroes, and it was normal. It wasn't a slur.
Like an old person thing.
Yeah, it was like the Negro. Like
Oriental or whatever.
Right. Black people wanted to be called Negro. And then we went to African American, and now it's black, and now nobody know what to call black people. So at the time it was appropriate. And then, kind of how they do, they revise history and act like the same principles today as back then. I think when Joe Biden was younger, black people was called Negro. So I get what he's saying and, whatever, but according to their logic, that's racism, and they need to point it out.
But they won't.
No. It's rules for thee and not for me. They can. Rosenbaum was saying the N-word. Shoot me, N-word. Shoot me, N-word. And they out there protesting, and he was a pedophile. They out there protesting that he's a hero. Black Lives Matter. So, these people ain't worth a dime.
It's all nuts. Everybody, buy Brandon's book, Beaten Black and Blue, on Amazon right now. Check it out. Under 200 pages, very readable. Hope you write more. Brandon, thank you so much for coming on. Always great to talk to you. You're the best. Anything else you want to plug or promote?
No, just let's, for everybody that's watching, treat people the way you want to be treated. Love your neighbor as yourself. And quit the division. We all are one people. A lot of us have the same mission. We just think that we can get it in different realms. So let's not be divided. Let's be united. 2 people on here from different backgrounds, and we can still have a conversation. And I hope that everybody see that. Don't shoot your neighbor. Let's be friends. Let's love each other like Christ loved. Like Christ loves, and I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Well said. Thanks, Brandon. Thank you, chat, for the super chats and questions and comments, as always. Until next time, guys. Bye.